So I think while KG finishes that up. What? I'm ending the video. What we have on the table this week is we're going to build a fuel tank for Charlie's F100. What I've kind of drawn out here is basically, and I'll drop it in somewhere in either probably this corner or this corner. But here's kind of the design that we do on our fuel tanks. This is a 24-gallon capacity tank. So we figured, you know what, for another 5-6 gallons, we can just make one and we can fit one in there pretty tight. This is kind of a 3D view, and you can see here, these are the baffles. It's got the cross baffle, and then fuel, obviously these will have holes, and fuel can swash around, but if we notice, this is a top view of the baffle. The P is the pump. The way we do it is we centralize all the fuel and funnel it right here. So as the truck speeds forward, fuel is going to want to push back. Well, that baffle slows that fuel down. Left to right, same deal. Everything funnels back right here to the pump. So this keeps the pump nice and fed, nice and cool. Cinder will go right about here. We have a drain. Go ahead and start getting this up. I got KG with me today, so we're gonna work on this together. We'll get the truck up in the air, and then we'll get this thing built up. All right, what we're gonna do now is clamp the panel to the table. We've marked our reference line, and we're just gonna anneal the aluminum so that we can get it to bend. Typically, I kind of do this by eye, so I'm not gonna say I measure it. I know KG asked me how many degrees, and I said, I don't know, I think about 20. It's just kind of what looks right. Ended up being 2025. So it looked right, we liked it, we went with it. There he is kind of measuring it. So what he's gonna do now is clean up all his edges. Over to the right hand side, we got our new guy, Gabriel. We have two new Gabriels. This is the other Gabriel number 2. Young kid, really eager to learn, so kind of giving him little tips and tricks. So KG's just going to stand this panel up, hold it there, and he's going to place a couple tack welds through the inside. And once he gets all the panels welded through the inside, we'll do the baffles, and then we'll weld all around the perimeter at the very end. All right, KG put a couple welds along the back panel. Now he's test fitting the side panel. We're going to trim it to fit, and here he is. We're going to help him kind of hold the panel there a little tight, just to kind of keep those clearances really tight up on each other while he puts a couple tack welds. All right, as you can see from my expression there, really liking how it's coming out. KG kind of promoted him today to kind of learn aluminum. He's been doing really good with sheet metal, so I figured, you know what, KG, I need some help on the aluminum side of things, so let's get your feet wet. And by feet wet, I mean I just basically threw him in the deep end and said, hey, let's build a tank. And by we, I mean you. So I'm going to be shadowing him throughout the whole project, but he's doing really good so far. All right, so here we're gonna lay a bead closer to the edge on a corner. The aluminum will tend to want to warp or separate from each other, so KG just asked that I kind of hold it down, put some tension on it while he puts his weld. I think here in a few minutes, if I'm not mistaken, it gets pretty toasty. Yeah, right about now. All right, so while KG finishes up tacking the fuel tank, I'm gonna move over here to the back of the truck. I need to remove this brace. So the original tank that we had purchased actually had a clearance where it went around this brace, but because we're trying to use all the room possible, I'm gonna go ahead and bust that brace off. I gotta bust these rivets off, get the brace out of the way, and then we're gonna have to make some cuts closer to where the coilover mounts are, but you'll see that here in a bit. All right, sometimes in a build, you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. It's kind of the case here. So we're just covering everything up since we're having to make some cuts. We're going to go back and touch up the frame where we had already painted it. So we're just taking precaution here. So KG brought the tank over, and we're just going to lightly, or gently, I should say, bring the truck down over the tank just to kind of check fitment. And our measurements were spot on. All right, so there's the structure of it. We just got it shoved up into the frame itself. It fits perfect. Our overhang is not bad at all. This is kind of where the frame follows. We're going to end up doing mounting bracket here and then one on the back side. What we're going to end up doing now is coming on the inside and doing our cross baffles. So we'll have KG work on that. The inside is all tacked in place. So what we'll do then is, after we do the cross baffle, then we're going to fully weld all the edges. We're going to put our drain -8 on this corner right there. But it's coming out really good. A lot of smiles per gallon. All right, here's the pump we're going to use. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to drill. The pump is going to be just about centered, just before the baffle, that cross baffle that goes here. And then we have angled baffles right here and on the other end. And that basically, when fuel moves to the back, it keeps, the way we design the fuel tank is by doing it at an angle, 2 angle baffles plus the cross baffle, it keeps the fuel pretty much well fed, no matter if you're full on throttle or going, you're swinging it left or right. So it'll be pump here, our sender here, fuel lines running along passenger side frame rail, our drain, our mounting bracket on the side, one on the back. And the reason we do 3 mounting brackets is the amount of fuel that we're going to have. 24 gallons, every gallon weighs about 6 pounds, plus the weight of the tank, we're looking at almost 200 pounds. So 3 brackets is good enough to keep this thing really nice and rigid and prevent the brackets from fatiguing and leaking. So we might wrap this up here for part 1. We'll see how far we can get on the baffles, but we're making really good progress on it. When it came out, though, it was a big deal. All right, so here is KG bringing over the cross baffle. I'm just kind of freehanding where we want portholes in there. So he's gonna go take the panel on the table, and there it is with portholes cut. Now we're just kind of looking at our slanted baffles to see where we're gonna put those, and then he'll end up taking this back on the table and start welding it in. All right, so we'll let KG finish welding the baffles in, but we're going to call it for day 1, part 1. Part 2 will consist of doing the drain hole, welding that bung in, doing our 3 brackets, putting the top cover on, as well as drilling our hole for our pump and sender. And then we're going to completely weld the entire tank, all seams all the way around. After it's all said and done, we're going to paint it black, so it'll hide really nice up underneath the truck. All right, and be sure to stick around after the outro for a quick blooper. KG was almost attacked by dragons. I don't like that. Oh, there you go. Look up, look up. It's right there. No, I know, look up. You're going to find like 10 of them. Oh, shit. Ooh, I better not make them mad. It was called.